So not only did we do that on Monday, like I said earlier, we got to go to CitiField, the home of the Mets, the New York Mets, on Monday afternoon. Now, we had to really cut this thing close. This was a real close call because Alexis had class on Monday afternoon. I picked her up. We went to the train station, made it to Grand Central. We made a beeline from there to CitiField, which is where they had a meet and greet with Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Mandy Rose. Now, none of those three, and even Mandy Rose, I mean, it wasn't supposed to be Mandy Rose. It was supposed to be Bayley, but I think they switched her out because she had to compete on Raw on Monday. Mandy, Big E, and Kofi were not on Raw on Monday night, so I think they stayed for the game and did not have to rush to the WWE taping on Monday night. But they're not my favorite wrestlers by any means, but a big reason why I wanted to go, I mean, Bayley is, but a big reason why I really wanted to go was to have my Intercontinental Championship replica title signed by none other than Kofi Kingston and Big E. Now, obviously, they are two former IC champions. Kofi Kingston has held the championship no less than 4 or 5 times. Big E held the belt once back in 2014. And I knew this was maybe not my only shot of ever getting them to sign the championship, but if I waited until Access one of these days, they'd be 10 times more expensive. So I had to jump on the opportunity. I was able to do it. We got to CitiField at like maybe 5:45, 6 o'clock. And the meet and greet it said it would be going from 5:30 to 6:30. And we got there, and I didn't want to buy my tickets. I didn't want to buy my tickets for the meet and greet, which also included a seat at the game, but obviously we were going to Raw, so I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to purchase them in advance, and the slight chance where I got to the arena, they weren't selling them anymore, and I couldn't make it, blah, blah, blah. So I waited until we were right outside CitiField to purchase my tickets for the meet and greet. And it took a little longer, and I had to go through this whole process. I had to go into the stadium. I went to the box office. They weren't selling them there. I had to buy them online. It was a whole confusing mess. It got to the point where I have my Intercontinental Championship belt in my hands, looking like a doofus, with my Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt on my phone, trying to purchase these tickets, trying to figure out from people who work there where to go, what to do, whatever. And then finally, I get it all figured out. We're closing in on 6:30 here, people, so we're cutting it really, really close. I just got one ticket because to pay for a second one for Alexis would have been unnecessary money, so she was willing to wait outside the arena. It was just me. I flew in solo. She waited for me outside, but I got the ticket, made a beeline towards this suite on the 4th floor of the stadium, which I've been here before for a wrestling show. I'd been to CitiField for a Mets game about 2 years ago, so I've been here before. It's a very nice stadium. I asked people where to go, what to do, blah, blah, blah. Got in the elevator, got upstairs, saw these 2 people just standing there. And I asked them, like, where do I go for the meet and greet? Am I late? I mean, it was, well too late by that point. But it did say in the email or in the information for this meet and greet that it would be going from 5:30 to 6:30. And it was like 6:20 by this point. So again, I was cutting it really close. But technically, I was still there in time with my belt in hand. I asked these 2 ladies, they were like, oh, weren't you supposed to be here an hour ago when we first sent in the people? And I said, yeah, but I'm running late. Is there any chance I could still meet them? Blah, blah, blah. Before they could even finish their sentence, in the corner of my eye, in the corner of my left eye, I see the New Day and Mandy Rose, or specifically just Kofi and Big E, and Mandy Rose walking down the hallway with this group surrounding them, like their PR team, whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, they're right there. So I asked them if I could just walk right up to them. I mean, they don't really care. These 2 women that I'm talking to, I asked them, can I just walk right up? And, I paid for it, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't being an asshole, but I asked, hey, can I just go meet them now? Is that okay? They didn't really seem to mind. Kofi, before I even said anything to him, said, hey, nice shirt, because I was wearing my Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt for that night's Raw. And then I don't even really remember word for word what I said, but in so many words, it was like, hey, do you mind if I get a picture with you guys that came here for the meet and greet? I'm sorry I'm late, blah, 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 if you don't mind. And they were really nice. They were very accommodating. I got a picture with Kofi, Big E, and Mandy. It's on my Twitter now. It was really fucking cool. I could not believe it that I just barely ran into these guys as they were making their way towards the elevator. And I got a picture with them. And then I annoyingly asked Kofi and Big E to sign my IC title. I asked them if it was possible, if it was okay. And I took out the championship, and they were like, holy shit, look at all these signatures. Like, that's really cool. And Kofi's like, wow, you got Santino. You got Pat Patterson, Big E said. And Kofi was like, wow, you got Kevin Nash, you got this guy, you got that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get all the former IC champions, including you guys. That's why I'm here. And I really went out of my way to make this thing happen, but I'm really glad I did because I got a great picture out of it and 2 awesome signatures from Kofi Kingston and Big E. So I kind of rode down in the elevator with them. They were really, really nice. They didn't have to do that. I met Mandy Rose before at WrestleMania Access, so I wasn't really all too concerned with her. If it was Bayley, different story. But anyway, it was really cool, an awesome experience, albeit short-lived, but I got really fucking lucky with that one-off encounter with Kofi, Big E, and Mandy, because if I waited any longer or had gone any sooner, it probably would not have happened. I just barely ran into them in the hallway at CitiField, so it was really cool, and now we have 32 former Intercontinental Champions having signed that replica IC title, which is incredible. We got a ton this year alone, between Access, meeting Moxley, Bret Hart, CM Punk, and now Kofi and Big E. We've had a ton of signatures added to that championship in 2019 alone. Probably half of the signatures came this year alone. So I'm really happy we were able to do that, make that happen. And now we have Kofi and Big E on the replica IC championship. So for those wondering, who else do we have left to sign it, all that other stuff. I made a document. It's on my laptop. I've tweeted it out before showing who else I need to have sign it. People like Stone Cold, Triple H, and Rock will obviously be the hardest to meet. Don Morocco's on there. I don't know what he's doing these days and people like that. But, still, it's really cool. I think we have 36 former IC champions to go. So almost halfway through. We're almost halfway through the former IC champions to have signed this thing. A lot of whom are still with WWE. So a lot of which are going to have to be completed at like an Access or something like that. But, yeah, we made it happen. It was fucking awesome. It was really cool. And, so I'm looking forward to seeing who else we can have sign it in the years to come. My goal, because I know we recently celebrated 40 years of the Intercontinental Championship, I think about a week ago on September 1st. And WWE spent the entire week on their website talking about it and celebrating the anniversary, that whole thing, which was cool. But my new goal is to have every former IC champion sign it. It was a lifelong goal, but I thought it would be even cooler to have all remaining 36 champions sign it, and even more, obviously, because more new champions will be crowned in the years to come, like Nakamura a few months ago, people like that. I'm looking to have all former champions sign it in the next 10 years before the IC title celebrates 50 years. So it's going to be close to impossible to get people like Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, people like that. But, hey, I got Pat Patterson. I never thought I would get him, and I did. So anything is possible. Anything can happen, which is really fucking cool.